hospitals are going to be admitted allegations of spacing. He was in a civil state hospital, and that really wasn't the appropriate placement for him because he was not able to receive the competency restoration needed along that.
So the parties have worked on a stipulated order and findings, is that correct?
I will prepare, I don't have that order, that's a separate order. Ms. Mason only has the pickup order or the...
It's an order taken into custody.
Okay. So that's the only order that the court will sign this morning. I will prepare a subsequent order for a forensic commitment in lieu of a civil commitment, which is the previous order. And at that point, in terms of the subsequent evaluation, we have to designate somebody that's going to go into the jail. And I know that there's been difficulty with allowing people in the jail to do the evaluations.
I think if you work with Sergeant Capo, I think she's able to facilitate that.
Okay.
Additionally, we are doing, for example, recently, at the request of both counsel, we are able to do a Zoom evaluation. For example, Dr. Ewing now, I think, is doing Zoom evaluations.
So the jail will facilitate the Zoom?
If you get in touch with Sergeant Capo,
Okay.
she will be able to direct you on the steps to take to make sure that you can get out.
Mr. Darrow, did you have an addition?
My understanding is that, and this could have changed, but the jail's going to be back open for regular visitation starting June 1st.
Oh, great.
That's not.
But in the
It's
meantime,
not driving
right.
that was the plan as of a couple weeks ago.
In the meantime, though, I know we're taking steps to facilitate, and I'm thinking specifically the Tacey case. Mr. Chandler was private counsel. I can't remember who state's counsel was on that. Right, but we're doing that on a very short time frame with Dr. Ewing, who's now back at least doing Zoom evaluations. I don't know if he's actually going to jail because he had some concerns for himself. But so anyway, there are things to expedite things.
And that's what I think we're all in agreement with getting this expedited and getting back into the appropriate facility.
All right, so based on the credible allegations of violations and the stipulations of counsel, court will assign the, what are we calling it, the law enforcement taking into custody order?
I'd say order to take into custody, Your Honor. I provided Mr. Verano
And who will transmit that to the facility? Because today was the day for release.
Judge, I'm not sure, but I can.
Is that something David Lawrence can do? You have all the contacts, so let me go ahead and enter that. And will that be in the system immediately, Madam Clerk?
Yeah.
Or can we generate a copy for the gentleman so that,
I can do it right now, and that way
I can-
Max will have it.
I can, once it's e-filed, I'll forward it to Mr. Conrad.
Yeah.
I can just see what happens.
And I'll let them know that this is in process so that they are aware.
it says here a verified what having been filed?
Oh, I apologize, Your Honor. It should say affidavit.
All right, so if you want to redo it,
Yes, Your Honor.
I do actually read these things. I don't catch everything, but.
Yes.
And then you're gonna prepare a subsequent order?
Yes.
Very good. Anything else on Mr. Cardenas at this time?
Nothing for the
All right. On an unrelated note, Mr. Verdrum, I noticed you have a very sheer new style mask.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if that meets our exacting standards here. Is that rated for?
This is a Nick Saban special. Not that I'm an Alabama fan, but this is the one that the coaches are wearing.
That who is?
The college coaches.
Oh, okay.
That's what they refer to it as. This is.
Yeah, that's the same program that had the COVID outbreak.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I say this all semi-seriously, but I'm concerned on a semi-serious level whether that is going to meet our standard.
It is approved, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's rated by some rating agency?
It's according to their website. It was approval, and it meets the standards of apply.
Really?
Yes. That's what,
Despite-
at least the advertisement says that.
Yeah.
And it looks like it is not. It actually is protected. You cannot read out of it.
Oh, really? Okay. You know, that actually is interesting because for our jury trials, I mean, Mr. Darrell and the defense, what do you think of that? You want to style it for them, then, Mr. You like the clear mass, Mr. Darrell, or
Yeah,
the?
no, one of the attorneys in my office,
Another public defender.
I had the same exact conversation with him you just had with him.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, that's not stopping anything.
It is.
That's all the next.
There's also a prosecutor. Yes, it's, the website, there's a website and they advertise that.
You guys realize the judge is all man, so he's saying it's probably.
So you're saying that it actually has been rated to prevent transmission?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What do you think?
So they
of-
say,
What do council think of that for jurors? Is that as good or less
I can't
desirable?
see his mouth right now.
Okay, so you still prefer the clear mass for the jury selection?
I mean, my honest personal opinion is it probably doesn't make a huge difference either way, but we do.
Okay,
Those clear ones we have aren't that bad.
there you go.
Those masks are like $1 or $2 each, so.
Which ones?
The clear ones are
Okay,
expensive.
right.
My guess is that's more than a couple of dollars.
Right. Madam Clerk, did you have a question?
No, I just had a question on this where it says custody impaired, should we put held no bond or?
Well, it's just, he's being held, so, I mean, I think it's in it, that he should be held for further evaluation, so he's not gonna be released until evaluated. And then Mr. Burrell will also, we'll work on that for the evaluation. And Your Honor, I also, my understanding also is the sheriff's office, once that goes to the sheriff's office will pick him up.
Okay,
let's just, yes, what's the sheriff's office? He's not able to notify him.
Right, and then the sheriff's office will, our sheriff's office first.
anything else on Cardenas?
No, Judge, that's
All
all.
right, thank you for your assistance. Let me next go to Gomez Cornejo, 15 CF 567, Mr. Leontia for the state, Mr. Masor for the defense. This is a post-conviction motion. Mr. Leontia, Mr. Masor, I see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Judge.
Yes, Judge. Looks like we lost him.
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
Judge Manalich anymore.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he'll figure it out. Are you on this case full time?
I am.
Okay. I just got appointed May 5th, so
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the conflict and your appointment.
so
How
I'm
long?
just sorry.
How long do you think you're going to need for preparation?
Well, I'm gonna have to get access to the record. I'm not even sure who's in possession of it right now.
You're talking about what
Trans-
record?
Well, apparently, from my understanding, the judge has granted. Well, we'll figure it out right now.
All right, I think I've reestablished the connection. Sorry, gentlemen, lost you there. But were we back? Are we all back connected again?
We are.
Yes, sir.
To begin with, my congratulations, Mr. Leontiv. I understand you're on the short list for the local JNC committee.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Let's address Gomez Cornejo, 15 CF 567. Post-conviction motion, Mr. Masor, you were just appointed. So obviously the hearing that was scheduled for today will need to be set for another date. Mr. Masor, any initial comments?
Well, Judge, and I've been going through the clerk's docket and several of the motions that the defendant or petitioner has filed and many of your responses. I wanted to clarify before I move forward as to what grounds you have granted. My understanding was a April 30th, 2020 order. You granted grounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 for an evidentiary hearing. But then he followed up with a bunch more stuff trying to amend, and I think you denied all of it.
I see the order directing evidentiary hearing on grounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. As you said, there then were self-represented filings. There is a February 2021 order striking defendant's second amended rule 3.850 motion. There is a subsequent filing by the defendant. It appears in March of 21. There is a March 30 order denying defendant's motion for leave to amend the motion and dismissing the third amended 3.850. And then it was followed, it appears, by the withdrawal of regional counsel. Must have had a conflict. I don't think they were ever substantively involved. Mr. Leontiv, are you aware of any other history from your perspective?
No, Your Honor, it's only the grounds 1 through 5 and 7 that are set for evidentiary hearing.
So despite all of those filing activities that occurred, we're back to the court's order, which I show filed on May 4 of 20. And that would be the order upon which we're proceeding to hearing.
Correct.
All right, good. Then I figured that out correctly.
All right. And at this point, do you wish to set a hearing date, a sufficient amount of time out from here, or do you want to have a status update, Mr. Masor, after you get into the case and speak to the defendant?
I prefer the status, please.
Mr. Leontiv, any thoughts?
I would prefer the date, the evidentiary hearing be set, but I understand Mr. Masori's position.
Is there any unfair prejudice to the state at this point from the passage of time?
I don't think so. I think it's only a one witness hearing from the state's perspective. So,
Mr. Masor, how much time would you need before the status gathering?
Well, I believe he's up in the DeSoto Correctional Institute in Arcadia, so I got to figure out how to get with him. From what I think he's a Spanish-speaking person. Does he require an interpreter, if anyone knows?
I think so, Judge.
Oh, Mr. Nagel, you have a...
I'm the one witness.
Oh, Mr. Nagel's the witness. Okay. All right. Timely that you're here. So you do believe it's an interpreter case, Mr. Nagel?
Only called by counsel.
All right.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure.
Yeah, it's probably an interpreter case, Mr. Masor. What I'd
Okay.
like to do is bring it back no later than 60 days for the status.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. Do you think you can do it in 30, or do you want the full 60?
I'll take the full 60, please.
And then at that point, I will set a hearing from there.
Great.
Now, Mr. Leontiv, any other state comments or requests?
no, Your Honor.
All right, one moment. Let me set the status with my assistant.
Judge Manalich's office.
Hello, Melissa. Calling you on the Gomez Cornejo case. Mr. Masor has just been appointed. Mr. Masor, have you been able to do a conflict check?
Not a complete one, but I don't foresee any possibility of it.
Please notify us if for some reason you discover a conflict as you go through the discovery so that we can promptly address it and not wait the 60 days.
Yes, sir.
But otherwise, we'll assume Mr. Masor is the defense counsel, and we're gonna need to set this no less than 60 days out, Melissa. I don't wanna go much beyond the 60. I'm assuming this would just be a 10-minute hearing to discuss the status and to set a date.
Yes, sir.
So it would be 10 minutes, right around 60 days is what we're shooting for, Melissa.
Okay.
One moment. Yep, that's fine.
And this would be by Zoom?
Yeah, Mr. Leontiv, Mr. Masor, do you wish to appear remotely?
Yes, please.
That's fine.
Okay. The defendant's appearance would be waived for that status. Obviously, he will be here for the hearing.
Correct.
Monday, July 26th at 9 o'clock.
Did you hear that?
No, sir.
Monday, July 26th, 9 a.m. Does that work for both sides?
Judge, I have a juvenile resentencing before Judge Foster on that date at 9 a.m. I'll be down in Collier for that. So if I could just pop in and.
How long will your other case go?
That's expected to go at least 3 days.
Oh, all right. So you prefer a different setting?
If it's only going to be a 10-minute status, I think that would be fine.
Or we could do July 12th at 9 o'clock.
That would work better.
Mr. Masor?
That's fine.
All right, July 12, 9 a.m.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have the Affleck case, 16 CF 1276. I don't see Melissa, either Ms. Wilson nor Mr. Vitale.
Miss Wilson might be out in the hallway, but there's no sign.
Okay, could we just ask Ms. Wilson to come in a moment and see, Melissa, was it your understanding that Mr. Affleck's case was set today?
Yes. And I believe the 11 o'clock might be an agreed plea, and they were asking, I think, to have that heard
Right.
morning as well.
Yeah, that's fine. They're out there now, but we need to see what's going on. And Mr. Darrell, Mr. Nagel, what are you here for?
We were here for the.
Okay.
We didn't know it was just a status. We were told.
Are they in one of the rooms? They might be in one of the
Little conference.
conference rooms.
Thank you.
I know that Melissa did come into the court.
Right.
I left with Mr. Khalil.
Yeah.
And Mr. Affleck is the case that I.
Would you, Melissa, would you reach out to Mr. Vitale's office and see if he was expecting to appear on Affleck today? It's odd that,
Yes.
you know, usually they're pretty good about attending, so
Yeah.
give a call back, please.
Okay.
Bye. Gentlemen, have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor.
They might be in one of the conference rooms.
Okay.
Mr. Khalil and Miss Wilson.
I don't think Officer Eaton's gonna have any traffic problems today.
I don't think either one of us will.
I think he's gonna get out quite early today.
Well, they're just gonna put me on patrol, Your Honor.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So,
Well, I can continue things until later if you wish.
that'd be super.
We'll see.
Yeah, our new boss doesn't like to keep us hanging around here.
All right.
So if we decide to go back up on the bench there, you might not have nobody to work with.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
No sign?
Yeah, that's odd.
They send us out to
Okay.
schools, they send us out to work the road, they
Both
send us out
of
to
them?
fire.
Love to see him
Wow.
like that Freiberger guy.
Well,
We are on Zoom.
what's curious is that Mr. Khalil said he needed to be heard by 10.
Yeah, they both went
All
outside
right.
with,
I'll
with
give it
the
a couple
defendant.
moments. Let me go ahead and mute and we'll. I need to unmute.
There you
Okay, I was accusing you of it and I was doing it myself. Are we on the right?
Yes, we're
Okay.
back on the record.
Ms. Vitale, Ms. Wilson is here, but she pointed out to me that it was actually set for 11.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I appreciate you trying to connect. Now, I know Mr. Affleck always participates. He probably thinks it's 11 also.
I think you may have excused him at the last
Have
hearing.
we
Since
waived
it's
that?
going to be a status.
Okay, so if it's more convenient now, let's address it now.
Sure.
Okay, so this is State v. Affleck, 16 CF 1276. Mr. Vitale for the defense, Ms. Wilson for the state. This is here for a status update. Mr. Affleck was going to be meeting with the evaluator. I think it was Dr. McMurray.
No, it was Dr. It was not McMurray. No. Collins, Dr. Collins. That's
Dr.
correct.
Collins. Okay, any update that you know of, Mr. Vitale?
I called Dr. Collins yesterday, Judge, just to see where we were because I hadn't seen a report. He advised me that he was almost done. He needed another week to have it completed. There was still one more thing he had to do.
So Mr. Affleck participated?
Yes.
Fully? Okay, good. And so another week, you said?
That's what Dr. Collins told me yesterday. Maybe we should put it out a couple of weeks since he already told us a couple of weeks the first time. So just to be on the safe side, let's give him a little breathing room.
Do you wish to appear remotely again with Mr. Affleck also remote?
That'd be fine, Judge. Yes.
And I assume we would need to have a status to determine, based on the report, what needs to occur?
Yes, I think we should set it for another status. Yes, absolutely.
All right. To be safe, would it be better about 3 weeks to make sure he can get this done?
Certainly, Judge.
All right, let's come forward.
Judge Mike,
hello, Melissa. Plenty of good news from the trenches. Mr. Vitale kindly called in early, even though it appears by general agreement that this was actually set for 11.
I'm just finding that out myself now, yes.
You are admitting error?
I am admitting error.
All right, thank you for the confession. It will be added to the long list I've been keeping. But anyway, we'll talk about that during the evaluation process.
Okay.
Anyway, it was addressed now. What we have decided, the good news is that Mr. Affleck did apparently participate in the evaluation. Dr. Collins is writing the report. Based on estimates of time, we need a final status conference about 3 weeks out. I think only 10 minutes is needed. We'll be doing the scheduling from there.
Yes, and I had a date at June 1st.
That's a little too soon, I think.
Oh, okay.
About 3 weeks.
Okay, 3 weeks.
I wonder if it's a couple weeks out, so, but that would be.
Yeah.
And would this be by Zoom?
Yes, either or both sides can appear remotely or in person.
Oh.
But Mr. Affleck, I think it's necessary to Mr. Vitale to have him appear whether remotely or in person.
Yes, sir.
He's out of custody, but I do think it's important for him to be there so he can be notified of any hearing dates if there is a need for a hearing.
Yes, sir.
How about June 14th at 3:30?
Let's have the parties check.
What time is that?
June 14th, 3:30 p.m.
Judge, I'm sorry. I have a 3850. I have to testify. I'm going to be at the courthouse that day, and Judge Foster's testifying. The hearing starts at 3. That'd probably be right around the time. I mean, I might be able to do both, but I am going to do that at 3 o'clock.
June 16th at 3 p.m.
Yes, sir. I can do that.
Yeah,
It's minutes, so. All right, Melissa, it's confirmed then June 16 at 3 p.m.
Okay.
Mr. Vitale, I happened to come across your name yesterday in addressing the Rosales Trejo case.
Yes, sir. I was there. With,
You were actually there, yes. Okay. All right, then I think everything is set on Mr. Affleck. You'll notify Mr. Affleck that he will need to appear either remotely or in person?
yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye now. Have a good weekend.
All right, that leaves us with Silva Santos. Any hope that we might, Melissa, did you contact public defender about Mr. Khalil?
I did, but he had told his client to leave and come back at 11.
Okay,
So it doesn't sound
that's
like
fine.
that will.
We can address at 11.
Yeah.
Ms. Wilson, you're able to come back then?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?